Sup, you beautiful bastards? Hope you're having a fantastic Tuesday. Welcome back to the DeFranco Show. Now, before every comment is about a different background change, oh my god, just please remember that this week is different. Instead of the full DeFranco Show, because I have a baby at home, I'm trying to just film these in 2 hours while he's taking his nap. This week the shows are shorter. I'm going to be talking about the most requested story of the day. And today the background's different because my team is doing some mild construction in my regular filming room, which is my office. But that said, let's jump into the news. And today we actually have several stories because some of the stories that were requested are very quick. And the first thing up is an update around the PewDiePie aka Felix controversy. Yesterday we talked about this story from a ton of different angles. We talked about a ton of different reactions and potential overreactions, underreactions. The whole situation stemmed from one of the largest creators on the internet, one of the largest creators on YouTube, doing this during a live stream.
What a fucking nigger. Jeez, oh my god, what the fuck? Sorry, but what the fuck? What a fucking asshole. I don't mean that in a bad way, Jesus.
There was a ton of outrage, people defending him, mainstream outlets going at him. And today Felix responded to this whole situation with a very short video called My Response. And here are the main points he hits on.
You probably won't believe me when I say this, but whenever I go online and I hear other players use the same kind of language that I did, I always find it extremely immature and stupid. And I hate how I now personally fed into that part of gaming as well. It was something that I said in the heat of the moment. I said the worst word I could possibly think of, and it just sort of slipped out. And I'm not gonna make any excuses to why it did, because there are no excuses for it. I'm disappointed in myself because it seems like I've learned nothing from all these past controversies. And it's not that I think I can say or do whatever I want and get away with it. That's not it at all. I'm just an idiot. But that doesn't make what I said or how I said it okay. It was not okay. I'm really sorry if I offended, hurt, or disappointed anyone with all of this. Being in the position I am, I should know better.
And after watching that, I have to say personally, after years of covering stories that end up somewhat in the situation of someone doing something bad and then making an apology video, if there is an example of a proper way to do it, this is it. He gives some insight into why what happened, but is not making an excuse. He says he's disappointed in himself. There is no excuse here, that he's an idiot. And ultimately the question becomes, is this enough? For some, yes. For others, no. There are obviously people that are still going to be angry at him, that do not forgive him. But in general, if you look at this response video, his audience appears to have his back here. As we're recording this, his video had 261,000 likes, 9,000 dislikes. There's a lot of support in the comments, but I will point out something. A lot of the support in the comments do not line up to what Felix said in his video. Felix saying, I'm better than this, there's no excuse for this, but a lot of the support in the comments think that people are just overreacting. We'll read a few of the top comments, and I mean the ones that aren't just people writing the N-word with hundreds of likes. We've got, I love you, bro, don't trip about these big-ass losers who get offended by everything, it's just a word. Why are people overreacting over a freaking word? It's 2017, man. And most of the comments continue like this, and I'm not saying they're wrong or right. There is a massive debate on whether intent matters here. But to me, it is very interesting that a lot of the support does seem disconnected from the words that are coming out of Felix's face. So there was that. And then let's talk about the most requested non-story of the day, and that is Senator Ted Cruz was in the news. Ted Cruz was trending late in the night and still this morning because it appeared that he or someone from his Twitter page liked hardcore porn on Twitter. Some people don't know this, but when you hit the little heart button on something on Twitter, there's a whole list dedicated to just the stuff you like, and for about, it seemed like 2 hours, Ted Cruz liked an adult film where a woman walks in on two people having sex. She's intrigued by it. She doesn't want to be rude and interrupt them because manners still do exist in 2017. So she does the mature thing to do in the situation and touches herself from across the room. And after people took notice of this, the entire internet seemed to stop what it was doing and just made fun of Ted Cruz. And it's easy to understand why. Ted Cruz is seen very much as a prude. It was also funny for a lot of people because there is a belief that Ted Cruz is anti-masturbation publicly. And all of this stems from a 1985 ruling in Texas. Back then, a Texas Court of Criminal Appeals ruled that, and I mean this, that someone does not have the right to stimulate another's genitals with an object designed or marketed as useful primarily for that purpose. Then fast forward to 2004, the court agrees with the 1985 ruling. In 2007, that case is appealed to Ted Cruz's office, and Ted Cruz's office says, there is no substantive due process right to stimulate one's genitals for non-medical purposes unrelated to procreation or outside of an interpersonal relationship, adding there is no right to promote promote dildos, vibrators, and other obscene devices. But the argument against the belief that Ted Cruz is anti-masturbation is he had to defend this. Cruz, as a Solicitor General at the time, had to defend the state's position, this regardless of his own personal beliefs. Also, another piece of evidence we have that Ted Cruz is not actually anti-masturbation is a statement from his old college roommate, who in 2016 tweeted, "Ted Cruz thinks people don't have a right to stimulate their genitals? I was his college roommate. This would be a new belief of his." But of course, there's the argument of, well, what you say and do in your personal life and what you do publicly, that there's sometimes a big difference. So that then brings us to the question of, was it Ted with his finger on the button and or himself? Well, he says no. When asked about this situation, he joked it off. Cruz saying, "There are a number of people on the team that have access to the account, and it appears that someone inadvertently hit the like button." When asked again, "It wasn't you," Cruz responds, "It was a staffing issue and it was inadvertent. It was a mistake. It was not a deliberate action." And I have to say, as someone that is not a fan of Ted Cruz, I end up leaning to believe him. There are a few people that have access to my Twitter. They have accidentally posted things. I'm sure they've accidentally liked things. The difference being they usually realize in 10 minutes and go like, "Oh shit, no!" Whereas Ted Cruz was trending nationally what seemed like for 2 hours before it was removed. Also, side note, a lot of people kept making a big deal that Ted Cruz was masturbating on 9/11. Can you imagine 9/11? And to that I say, excuse me, I don't remember the all-man meeting when we decided that we wouldn't do it, no touching ourselves on holidays and days of remembrance. Maybe I missed the Evite for that meeting. And additionally, I say, if there was ever a day that maybe we should be recommended to do it, it would be on a day of remembrance of a sad thing, so we get a little pick-me-up. Get some of the sadness out of you. Okay, that's the end of this story. Then in a quickie update, thanks to you beautiful bastards, again, the Philip DeFranco show is up for the Streamy Show of the Year. There's a lot of competition. We are going up against the Young Turks, BuzzFeed. So if you want us to win over those guys, we are going to need your votes. And here's how you do it this year. You go to Twitter, you tweet out hashtag DeFranco Show for Streamies. Boom, that can be your vote for the day. If other people you know then retweet that, those also count as votes. And you're able to vote each day from today until the 26th at 7 p.m. Pacific. Now, if you don't want to vote, you're not a fan of viewer vote awards, I get it, that's fine. But for those of you that do want to vote, in the description down below, I have 2 links. One, it's a click to tweet. You click it, it enters in all the valid information for a valid vote. Then you just gotta click tweet, as well as a link or 3 to other valid vote tweets that you can then retweet. It's all about stacking, and by that I mean annoying spam. And I'm just gonna close this by saying, whether you're voting for me or you're not, either way, just thank you. I wouldn't have even been nominated had you guys not watched the show and been part of this community. So thank you. Win, lose, whatever, just thank you. And the last thing we're going to talk about today is what appears to be the final update on one of the largest stories we covered in the past year, and that is the craziness around DaddyOFive. The channel headed by the parents, Heather and Mike Martin, featured a ton of what they called family prank videos. And I'm going to oversimplify the summary here, but it is important for people to understand what I'm talking about and why it matters. There was an initial scandal around this family because they posted a video where they pranked one of the kids. They poured invisible ink on the carpet and then blamed the kid and then screamed at the kid.
What the fuck? What did you do? What the fuck?
Do that!
You tell me what you did.
I swear to God, I didn't do that!
Ink all over your carpet!
This looks horrible and traumatic. This then resulted in myself and others going through a bunch of their other videos to find if there were other instances of this. And we didn't have to look hard. There were multiple examples, both of screaming and seemingly just breaking these children down into tears.
I didn't do that!
Yes, you did!
Stop!
Yes, you did!
You
obviously
all
did
did
it.
it.
Yeah.
So you all made me go through all this just for a stupid prank!
We also found instances of Mike Martin pushing and hitting his son Cody. They seemed to initially defend themselves by saying that, a lot of the pranks were fake, the kids are acting. Then I found more troubling videos, specifically a video where he gets his son to slap his daughter Emma.
You know you don't hit girls.
Yeah,
But she's your sister, she don't count. Oh my God!
Then the family started making a series of videos, and some of them they were apologizing, and others they were just blaming me.
It would have never got this out of hand if it wasn't for that DeFranco guy.
Then it came out that the 2 children that seemed to be the most targeted, the most victimized in this situation were not actually Heather's kids. Their birth mother Rose then got involved and tried to get her kids back. We then got an update a little bit ago that those 2 children were with Rose. Heather and Mike Martin then removed almost all the videos on the DaddyOFive channel. Then we saw the Baltimore Police Department, the Frederick County Sheriff's Office saying that they were looking into this, but they were having a hard time because they couldn't find the videos. Luckily, people on the internet, including part of our team, downloaded their entire archive, then linking it to the proper authorities to help with their investigation. They've since tried to kind of make a comeback, Mike with a gaming channel, Heather posting videos on their MommyOFive channel where they're pranking each other, but you're not seeing the kids. Then we got the news that Heather and Mike Martin were being charged with child neglect. And while specifics have not been known for a while because there's been a gag order in place, we got a huge update today. Heather and Mike Martin have pled guilty to child neglect as part of a plea agreement. agreement. Under the plea agreement, they received a 10-year suspended prison sentence and 5 years supervised probation. So what that means is that as of right now, they are not going to jail, but in the 5 years that they have probation, if they violate the rules, they will face up to 10 years in prison. And the plea was what they call an Alford plea. It's a special kind of guilty, which means they are not necessarily admitting that what they did was wrong, but they agree that the state has enough evidence to prove guilt moving forward. Also, as part of the plea agreement, they are not allowed to contact the 2 children, Cody and Emma, without a judge's approval. The probation reportedly also restricts them from posting pictures and video of Cody and Emma unless they're for family use. And I know that there's going to be a mixed reaction to this. There are going to be some that are angry because they feel like the Martins weren't punished enough. That it's great that Cody and Emma are safe now with their mother, but what about the other 3 kids? You've got the Frederick County State's attorney saying, there was no doubt there was mental abuse occurring, so we had Child Protective Services do some evaluations. It was clear from those evaluations that these kids were emotionally traumatized, so we felt child neglect charges were appropriate. So you're going to have people saying, well, what about the other 3 children that at times it seemed were incentivized to do this to the other kids? But then you're also going to have people that are happy because for at least 5 years, these kids are going to be separated. Separated from the people that, based off of those evaluations, were the people traumatizing them. If the Martins do anything to breach that, the state will come down on them. And to close this with my personal feelings, I am personally so happy that these kids are safe. Will the Martins change their ways? I hope so. And I know that the Martins have changed what they've said publicly, but I really do hope that they still don't blame that DeFranco guy. And they realize that the situation that they are in is one of their own creation. Not because I care about the blame, but it is important that a person realize that what they did was wrong and that it's not the fault of the person that saw them committing a crime. And I hope this serves as a story that will dissuade other parents from exploiting their children like this. And that's actually where I'm going to end today's show and pass the question off to you. What are your thoughts here? Are you happy? Are you sad? Do you think this was enough? It's too much? I'd love to know your thoughts. That said, also remember, if you like this video, you like what I try and do on this channel, hit that like button. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you don't miss these daily looks into the world, which actually, if you did miss yesterday's Philip DeFranco show, you want to catch up, click or tap right there to watch that. Or if you want to see the newest behind the scenes vlog, click or tap right there to watch that. But that said, of course, as always, my name's Philip DeFranco. You've just been filled in. I love yo faces, and I'll see you tomorrow.